Hey guys, and welcome back to the Ramble. I am your horrifyingly hostile host, Myreology here, and this is Times Are Tough, Part 1. Times are tough, gentlemen. There's no denying that. At least not for those of us blessed with the ability to see the world as the world is, as opposed to those who choose to dig down into blankets made from histrionic history bending, turning, twisting, and churning. Given my increasing grumpiness, I can only deduce that I am growing old. Or growing more reasonable, sane, and rational. At some point, anger gives way to grumpiness, I suppose. Or just good old-fashioned cynicism. As things stand, the status quo must be maintained. The status quo is this overwhelmingly strange idea that there is a nefarious patriarchy consisting of straight, white, cis, etc. men here to ruin the world, and life, for everyone who don't look like them, or share the same random genetic makeup or whatever. All that are considered minorities are hated beyond explanation and oppressed beyond words. And out of all of these, women struggle the hardest and suffer the most, as they always do. Not a minority in numbers, but a minority by virtue of everlasting oppression. Which is why no one listens to women even when they do listen to them. And this is all institutionalized and written into law like holy scriptures, even when the law allows for positive discrimination towards the aching necks and bruised and battered hands of the minorities. And women, of course, as they deserve first dibs on the positive discrimination, which is not discrimination because the word positive is put in front of it, and so it is quite alright, A-OK, and all that jazz and stuffy stuff. That makes perfect sense when running on fumes and being emotionally underdeveloped, I suppose. Feel bad? Oppression. Have some victim points and call me in the morning. Fail the test? Patriarchy. Have some brownie points and call me in the morning. Didn't get a job? Discrimination. Have some phony social media sympathy and call me in the morning. Some bastard drove past you on the highway? Male chauvinism on display. Have some social media outrage and call me in the morning. You may refer to me as Dr. Algier. I got my medical license through gender studies, and I know all the solutions to whatever it is that ails you, sister. You can count on that. Odd and peculiar though it may seem, men are the ones whom all of society listen to and whose woes and worries are what is taken seriously, by all and sundry. Which is why, when God Emperor Donald Trump mentioned in a speech, or was it an interview, I can't rightly remember, that it is a scary time for boys and men, this was taken very seriously by the whole wide world. Across the blue sphere, people watched in horror as the truths and facts of the lives of men were rolled out onto the screens for all to see. The suicides and the cancer deaths, the lack of funding for male-specific diseases, the dropping outs and the violent attacks, the drug addictions and the substance abuse, the sexual assaults and the rapes that apparently don't exist, the false accusations and the loss of custody and the disposable nature of men, the empathy gap and the lack of bodily integrity, the confusion, calamity and chaos, the divorce, rapes and the domestic violence suffered by men, the expectations of sacrifice and the constant ridicule, the neglectful school system and the hateful rhetoric spat their way by the sneering mouths and ferret fists of feminist academics teaching hatred in the guise of equality, inclusivity and resilience. And all the rest, all that was bad in the world of men came to light, and all who saw it gazed upon the light and decided to rise up and give aid to men and boys, and only them, as is the custom of the world, as it has always been. Suddenly, the killing, torturing and torment of young boys by Boko Haram was brought into the limelight, overshadowing by far the Bring Back Our Girls campaign which had gotten such a remarkable spot in the limelight before. Even all these years later, this is still utterly remarkable to me. Tens of thousands of boys killed, murdered, tortured, raped, forced into being child soldiers and other such pesky little things that are of no consequence pales in comparison to some 200 girls kidnapped. The value of one girl is approximately 2,000 boys, as is the way of things. A greater example of the empathy gap, the pure lack of concern and care for boys and men, I can scarce imagine. But of course, it was men doing it, and so it doesn't matter as much, because sharing the sexual characteristics of one's assailant somehow makes the assault, kidnapping, torture, rape, whatever easier to bear. One wonders, of course, if the victim cares. No one knows, because no one cares enough to ask. After all, it is only boys, and it is only men, and they must have done something and they may as well kill themselves and each other. Saves the sisterhood some work. And oh man, that was a dark tangent. I'm sorry about that. Onwards we go. Was it just a dream? Was it naught but a fever dream, brought on by years of sleep deprivation and caffeine abuse maybe? Was it a hallucination brought on by painkillers and an overabundance of dog fur clogging my nostrils, thus pumping too little oxygen into my bloodstream? Had it all just been a dream? God damn it. There never was any balm in Gilead, was there? It's all just one big dastardly lie. What really happened after these most horrible words spoken by Grand Dragon Patriarch Donald Trump and his holy orangey spectre was smugness, self-satisfaction, mockery and contempt by the usual suspects. And they even brought out the ukulele troops, wielding the cute as a button innocent face of neoteny that no blue-pilled and blue-balled man could resist wanting to protect and care for, singing a song about how horrible it is to be a neurotic woman in this day and age, so oppressed and downtrodden by the fears she has been told to succumb to, that the televangelists of our day and age, the showrunners and the media personalities whose trembling fear and terror about going against the status quo makes them psychologically castrated victims of their own stupidity in a way, merely a cunt's hair away from the very own #MeToo trial by social media and fire, toss them onto the screens for them to cast their searing hatred and obvious contempt for boys, men, and their troubles onto the world. This time, the beast of revelations appeared in the guise of cutesy fun playtime, for all to laugh and mock and ridicule the plight of boys and men. At other times, it appears as truth-twisting academes with chips on their shoulders the size of a long-lost cock. Surely, the world concurred. Boys and men can't have any problems that needs addressing by anyone but those who decide what is and is not right. Particularly not white guys, wicked oppressors and tyrannical wielders of privilege that they are. Just look, the evidence is all there. They share the same genitals and the same complexion, underneath all the Cheeto dust at least, as the grand hierarchical oligarch patriarch of the world, herald of all that is bad and naughty and somehow wicked and, of course, masculine. Though, I am repeating myself. This, then, was nothing but further proof that the patriarchy is real, further evidence that feminism and social justice and intersectionality is needed beyond words and must spread beyond the world as the world is, onwards to new and unfathomed horizons. Besides, the patriarchy hurts men too, and so singing a cutesy fun playtime song mocking and ridiculing the troubles of boys and men, making light of their plight, is really nothing but yet another middle finger towards the patriarchy, scourge of the world and destroyer of purity, kindness, inclusivity, equality, resilience, and all that other stuff, which means all and nothing all at once. Besides, who was anyone to argue? After all, she did wield a ukulele, and she was cute to boot. No one that cute, no one wielding a ukulele, could lie or be mean and wicked, or high and mighty on her own smug self-satisfaction, lost in a daze after sniffing her own farts, could she? Come to think of it, no one that cute even farts, let alone sniffs them. Though, admittedly, women do poop, as the articles have let us know, even when they don't enjoy doing it at work, which is, as one would expect, the fault of the patriarchy. After much careful thought and deliberation, it was decided that she who holds the ukulele also holds the truth. And these people always fucking play the ukulele, sometimes even competently, though that last bit seems to be the exception rather than the rule. Competent playing or not, wielding the ukulele saved the world and the status quo. No one listened to boys and men as they were proven to be the privileged oppressor class once again. If they were in some kind of trouble, it was by their own making. If opposing pounding Me Too, this could only be proof of sexual harassment on part of the guys so wicked as to oppose what was quite clearly a social media witch hunt. There might even be latent rapists, which all men are anyway, so no surprises there. So spake the ukulele, the wielder of the ukulele, and all her disciples. And women were terrified, because they were told and taught that they should be terrified. And they were terrified of men, as well as being terrified of all the troubles men had, which was, of course, the fault and fancy of men for daring to be men. Not the fault of them as individuals, of course, but the fault of them belonging to that terrible cult of men known as men. And thus being moulded and pressed into the shivering sheen of the macabre masculine by the never-ending and all-engulfing hydraulic press of the patriarchy. And all went back into the witless wonder of the void, brought there by the witless wonder of the void. And all the chants and all the music and all the cuteness in the world spake and sung and deliberated in the same tone and, with the same voice, said that which is the truth of today. Women have problems. Society must change. Men have problems. Men must change. Men need to take responsibility for themselves, and society needs to take responsibility for women. For women, see, are completely and utterly incapable of taking responsibility for themselves, apparently. And the whole of society makes men out to be the victors, even though men do worse by all metrics, but hey, in the undying words of Kurt Cobain, well, whatever, never mind. It followed that the words of the great and glorious Cheeto in the sky was thoroughly ridiculed, forgotten and neglected. As of course is tradition, whenever someone dares say anything in regards to boys and men that are not venomous accusations of privilege, toxicity or fragility. Shit, fuck, damn and blow me. Were I not such a privileged oppressor, I would almost think I would have been pissed off at the whole ordeal. Alas, I am far too privileged and far too toxic to get pissed off. Or, well, my righteous anger and indignation don't matter much as anything but proof of whatever nonsense is spat our way by the ukulele-wielding harpies of the world, buried as they are beneath layers of ridiculous arrogance and smug self-righteous ideas about fighting the chosen enemy of the hour, with all the wits and wonders only true neurosis can bring. To quote the glorious Honey Badgers, hatred never looked this cute. If there is one thing that is known to be truth about all wholesale oppressed groups through all of history, it is that they are given airtime and limelight dimes to sing cutesy songs about their oppression and their oppressors, whilst all the world, including their oppressors, looks on in glee and applaud like trained seals, never thinking beyond the neoteny and the fruits of their labour in protecting, saving and sheltering this poor and timid maiden who is terrified and quivering, yet proud and strong and powerful and whatever. Women are not oppressed by men any more than men are oppressed by women. If I am to be perfectly honest, and put aside any pretenses of being a brilliant satirist, I don't think the word oppressed fits in any of it. Men are not oppressed, nor are women. I would say that it is worse in a way, for boys and men are forgotten, neglected and shunned by society at large. Our trials, troubles and tribulations either neglected or painted as our fault for sharing chromosomes with those who supposedly rule the world. If men were oppressed, it would be easier in a very weird way, because that would have given us a tangible enemy to fight. It would have given us a certain power to fight that was more than just an idea floating around, a notion in the air, a sensation in the ether, invisible radio waves. But there ain't, and there isn't. There are concepts and ideas to fight. There are certainly powerful forces that can't be said to help boys or men. Powerful forces that, quite unabashed and unashamed, spew hatred and ridicule and mockery and contempt from every clogged pore and every unwashed orifice. I would dare state that these forces are not our oppressors, gentlemen. They are merely enablers of the status quo, a force that has been present for aeons. In order for society to go around and so and such, men must be disposable, and this must be taught and it must be learned and it must be shown. Otherwise, the whole shit stain stops, the train will neither chew nor chug. In the murky mist of history, there were rewards for the self-sacrifice of men, rewards for watching the borders or hunting or whatever. There were social rewards and there was gratitude, and this changed. Given that a man can be accused of sexual assault for helping a young woman change a tire, thank God for security cameras, or for passing by a woman on the subway, there's little gratitude for self-sacrifice or for being helpful. Then there's further bitching and moaning, because men don't help out and do and woe is me, but where have all the good men gone? What is now being used to force men into the mould of the disposable male is shame. Granted, shame has been used for a good and long while. Just look to the white feather campaigns of the domestic terrorist group that was the suffragettes to see that. But now it is nothing but shame and shaming. Men need to step up and protect and provide. The traditional gender roles are still present and accounted for where men are concerned, and those who claim to oppose traditional gender roles are the ones maintaining them. He for she is a good example of this. Men, come here, step up, come and help and support women. Such as it is, was, ever shall be. Yet, it is presented as a new idea. It is absolutely astonishing and ridiculous, but there you have it, boys. Our superiors have spoken. And if you disagree, you are a foul and horrid misogynist who just hate women so much that you expect them to take care of themselves like the strong independent women who don't need no man that they are. And there's no oppression from men or women. There is neglect and there is scorn and there is ridicule. Men and boys are forgotten and given no empathy nor understanding for what we go through. Granting boys and men that small favour, which would be the sum of earthly bliss. Well now, that would upset the apple cart. It would upset the delicate balance of the whole thing, which is so damn delicate now that it ain't balanced in the least. One could almost say that it has tumbled and fallen and gone down the drain along with what was left of reason, sanity and good old-fashioned, drumroll please, kindness, equality, inclusivity and resilience. And so ends part 1. Join me next week for more ranting, raving and rambling as I attempt to put in print what the hell is going on in my head at the present moment, burdened by genius. Or was that pretentiousness? I can't remember, as I obviously am. And thank you very much for listening. Please check out the links down below should you wish to support the blog and channel and my caffeine dependence in any way, shape or form. Please like, share and subscribe and all that jazz, and I'll catch you next time. This is my Reality Air, signing off.